CJ, welcome to the Content Economy podcast. I'm so hyped to have you here. It's long overdue. First question, what is it like moving into your new house as a creator? Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me, man. It's definitely long overdue. I've been wanting to do one for a while, so excited. But yeah, moving into a new house, it was definitely a process. A lot of things we could go into there that probably won't, but what I'm most excited about is just having space. I've had an apartment for a while, and it was a loft. So my office was also the living room, and I now have my own office, and like the amount of focus is nuts. So like that's honestly the most thing. I mean, it kind of sounds like a stupid answer, but
No,
I'm
I
most
love
excited
to.
about just having like focus area. And then
Yeah.
obviously like having different floors. So we have a living room, and like we had like 5 or 6 people over, and like everyone can like have space, and like, so I'm excited for the memories created in the house as well. But yeah, it's pretty surreal for sure.
So how did you get here? Tell us the story from, Moravian to content and tell us everything.
Yeah, I was definitely, this is kind of like the story everyone gives, but I was definitely always entrepreneurial. Started with shoveling driveways when it snowed and landscaping and reselling sneakers. We had like this really cool sneaker reselling place in Richmond. So like my mom would drive me every single Saturday to try and like sell whatever shoes I had and like see which ones I could flip. So the idea of like giving a service or a product to somebody and making money from it to me was always nuts. Blew my mind. And was always obsessed with basketball as well. Went to college at Moravian, small D3, played basketball there. But I always was working either jobs or like online. I would find gigs and ways to make money. Got into content actually during in actually I was training for an Ironman, and right before the Ironman, one of my buddies, Thomas Abato, he was like, "You should just vlog this. Like I was like 20 days out. He's like, you should just vlog like, day in the life training for an Ironman." And I was like, okay. So like started doing like, if I wish I could like pop up videos. They were awful. They were so bad. But definitely like kind of got over the fear, started posting every single day. And like, maybe I had like one video get like 3,000 views and like 200 people liked it. And I was like, holy crap, like this is sick. So then went to the Ironman. During the Ironman, I met an influencer. I don't know why I say he actually is an influencer. His name is Jake Anglicky. And we actually had like an hour-long conversation before he told me he was an influencer. I always had this like weird thing where I assumed these influencers were like these like crazy, perfect, special people. And like I had them on this pedestal. And then after meeting him and then having a whole hour-long conversation, realizing he was a regular dude, and then he had like 150,000 followers, he was like, yeah, dude, you should like really take this thing serious. Like you could definitely crush it. So I think someone like that giving me a little bit of a like confidence boost really helped. So I got back from the Ironman and started taking it extremely serious. I grew my Instagram to like 30, 40,000 followers in like the fitness niche. And, I actually tried to launch like a coaching product in the fitness niche. So I like built out this whole program and everything. And I like did a story post and I was like, anybody want to, do fitness coaching? And like, everyone was like, no. I was like, oh, crap. So like spent months building this thing out, made no money, and I'm like, okay, well, I got the followers now. I'm trying to do the thing everyone told me to do. And like, I'm making no money, which was like devastating to me. And I was like, how does anyone make money with this? And then one of Jake, the kid I met at the Ironman, one of his buddies, Colin Reich, we became friends. And Colin was posting these videos with these creatine. He was posting on TikTok with a link in the video with these creatine beast bite gummies or something like that. And we were friends. So I texted him. I was like, yo, like, you make any money from this? Mind you, I have no money at this point. Like nothing. My mom is Venmoing me like every week or so I can like get Chipotle and like maybe some gas, but like I have nothing. So my standard is very low. And he was like, yeah, I've made a little bit of money, like nothing crazy, but this past week I made $100. And I was like, you made $100 on TikTok? Like how can I do this? So at the time you didn't need any followers to do TikTok shop. There was just something called like a loophole method. So This is cool to talk about, by the way. I haven't ever like really gave this full story. I you didn't need 5,000 followers. So he helped me make an account to become a TikTok Shop affiliate. My first video I ever posted, it was with this. Actually, I have it right next to me. This tripod. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like, why the fuck? I think I cursed. I was like, why the fuck doesn't everybody have this tripod, bro? Like, if you want to take content serious, you got to have a tripod. 3 million views. I made $8,000. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, I had never seen money like that. Like, the most I ever made in a paycheck before that was maybe like $400 or something, you know? So the fact that I was like $8,000, one video, it took me like maybe 10 minutes to make.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask a lot of redundant questions here for people that are not familiar with what you're talking about right now. Okay. So prior to this, you were making no money. Mama Web was sending you some money, shout out to our moms, by the way. I think I've met a lot of successful entrepreneurs. I think good moms are a huge part of that. So shout out to her. She's great.
Yes.
But how did you actually make money from this video? You weren't getting paid from the views.
Yeah.
Was it a link in bio or? Okay. So explain affiliate.
I'll explain. Yeah. So literally all you're doing is you're an affiliate of the product. So this product was already on TikTok Shop and there was someone selling it. And instead of going to these like massive influencers with like millions of followers and paying them $10,000, what they'll do is they'll just send me a free sample. So let's say they're selling this thing for $18. It actually costs them like $3 to make it. So they're spending $3 plus shipping, maybe $5 to send me this product for free. In return, I post a video for it. I'm only making money if I sell the product. So I made $8,000. That was commission, and that was on like 20% commission. So I can't do math, but whatever the math is, that's how much I did in sales. And then I just get a percentage of whatever I do in sales.
Incredible.
So you just you promote products. Yeah.
And anyone can do this basically. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, now you just need 5,000 followers to do it on TikTok.
Okay. So anyone can do it, but it seems like when you started posting on social media, you had some natural inclination to do this. Do you think people need that? Or, is there anything special about you that got you to the, like, explain who actually could do this? Because when I was trying to do social media, I had signed some brand deals and stuff like that. And I remember, every year we go to our, whole family, cousins and everything, to like a 4th of July, get together. And I remember my aunt saying something like, well, not everyone could be an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not an influencer.
Yeah, you're blonde hair, blue eye, good looking kid. You know what I mean?
Like, well, you're a good looking dude as well, but I think there's good looking people. First of all, I honestly think a lot of people are natural beauty in Western society is typically athletic, in shape, skinnier. You can argue with that or not, don't really care. If you are in good shape, typically you can do social media, is kind of what I've seen. I think they translate. But do you think there's anything particular that allowed you to be good at it? Was it a time thing? Was it just, testing new things out? What do you think made it work for you?
Definitely a lot of things that play into it. Some things I probably don't fully understand, but one thing, obviously timing. Like when I first started Shop, it was different than it is now. It was simpler than it is now. Now you do have to be able to make good videos, and kind of like when I first started, like it was great timing, right? So that's obviously one thing. Second thing, I was comfortable in front of the camera, and that was because of like 6 to 8 months of me posting 6 Instagram reels and TikToks every single day and getting 0 views and like never missing a single day. So like for me to just like make a video with a tripod, like I knew how to like simply edit and like that was comfortable to me because I was doing it every single day. As far as like having advantages, I truly believe after working with like hundreds of creators that everybody has their advantage. At first I thought like good looking was the thing, but with TikTok Shop, it's so different, right? Overweight women are some of the highest sellers with clothing on TikTok Shop because they're like advocating for this audience that like feels like they're always the ones that like no one fully understands, right? So the women that are like comfortable enough to get on camera and like, you know, show some pants covering their belly rips, you know, it crushes. So if you can play into, like, everybody has their unfair advantage. And I think if creators can just learn how to play into them, you know, everybody has one. So kind of just like understanding what yours is really important, and
Yeah.
not trying to find creators who have a different unfair advantage and do what they're doing. And then you're wondering, oh, this is not working for me. It's like, well, Owen's jacked, you know, and he's promoting these products, and you're skinny trying to promote these supplements, or like, you know, these fitness products. It's not going to work for you, you know?
Yeah, I think the visual hook is really what's important. And then another thing I would say for social media, if you are selling, you do need to be an effective communicator. It's
Agree.
extremely important. The
Agree.
people that I see sell, they come in all different shapes and sizes, but usually they are able to communicate effectively. I will say for the overweight woman, you know, creator, you know, in terms of how we've seen them convert, Leo pays influencers for Infinity Hoop, which is like a weight loss hula hoop. And he's told me personally they've seen 5 to 8% organic conversion rate. So you get, you know, again, I'm not really a math guy either, but you know, you get 100 people watching a video, 5 to 8 are checking out on a $50 to $80 product. Very insane. And yeah, so I've always just been curious what your thoughts are on that. And then when you started, what year did you start?
2024, March of 2024.
So basically 2 years. How much have you made in that 2 year period doing this style of content, doing affiliate for brands?
Yeah, I think first year and a half was like $500,000 profit, which is like $3.5 million in revenue. Obviously, revenue doesn't really matter. It's just like a metric that people use to flex, but it is
matters for
cool.
The brands.
Yeah, it matters for the brands, but it is kind of cool to think about. But yeah, over $500,000 in profit.
Incredible. I mean, think about that. $500,000. What was your GPA in school?
Like 2.0. Like, terrible. It was one year I had like a 1.9, you know, like it was awful.
So why do you think content has allowed you to do that? Like, what makes content such a good thing to do for someone in your shoes?
I think it depends. So for me, I was always a hard worker, never school smart, or like for me, things took a little bit longer to pick up on. But if it was something I was fired up about, I can show up every single day, work my ass off, and you know, for example, I played basketball my entire life. I was a shooter. To me, being a shooter was much easier than being a point guard. Owen's a point guard. He thinks he can run through someone's defense and like see where people are going. Wasn't me. I'd rather just sit in the corner and knock down a three, because it's easy for me to train for that, right? To just like, you know, get up 100 shots a day. For content, I just kind of took the same approach. If you're somebody who's willing to just show up every single day and actually try and learn and get better, I was like, oh, that's all I have to do. And you know, you realize content is such a beginner level business model. Anybody can start content. Anybody can start posting on their phone. But the thing that comes with that is like majority of people are just going to stop. They've never experienced something hard. They never ran a business before. So to them, it's just like, oh, this is way too hard. I'm not going to do this. When I realized that was my competition, I was like, oh, so all these people are just going to quit. I just have to keep getting a little bit better and keep showing up. Eventually I'll be one of the guys. It's just a matter of time, whether it takes me 5 years, 10 years, or like it happens sooner. But yeah, I just realized that the competition, I was like, oh, I'd rather play this game where majority of people are just quitting, and like that's easier than starting something way harder.
Yeah, you know, content does take a bit of courage, because you know, when you're starting out, you're putting yourself online to the world. It seems very scary, but the reality is it's purely off of views. So if you're not a good creator, you will not get any views. So no one will really know, other than maybe people around you. But that, you know, now
there's no downside.
There's no downside, but I still do think it takes like some level of courage.
It does.
And then I would also say, you know, people make this argument to me that, okay, well, we had some level of advantage because of our moms and our upbringing, and like you could always like argue that.
We did.
But to me, we've seen people who are, you know, I have a student in content economy who is a professor at Yale, you know, who spends a lot of time with his own family, with his own profession, and still has time to do UGC. You know, I think it's just choices in terms of, okay, how long does it really take me to make videos? How many can I post a day? And I do think if you have 30 minutes a day, you can get a couple posts up that are pretty good shots on goal. And if you do that for a long enough time period, eventually it'll click for you, hopefully, or you'll pivot and change your content up or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I agree.
There's advantages.
Back to your point, like, are there people who have advantages over you? Like, yeah. Isn't that
for sure
any game? Isn't that any game you play? And then, like, by asking that question, what do you want people to say? Like, what do you want the answer to be? Do you want me to say yes? And then what? Does that mean you don't do it? Or does that mean you do it anyways? Right? Hermosi always says there's always been someone who's had it harder than you and still got the thing you're looking for. Yeah. Right? So like, what are you looking for when you're thinking that way?
That's why I wanted to circle back on the basketball analogy with point guards and shooting guards. I don't think it's, because I'm a point guard, I like to see things or whatever. It's just it's what I naturally like to do. You naturally like to shoot. God made us as individuals with what we naturally like to do for his greater plan. That's how I see it. And we don't understand that because we're just dumb little humans. But we have things that we naturally like to do. And we should use those in accordance with, ways to make money. It's like Ikigai.
Completely agree.
What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? Social media is kind of a way for a lot of people to check all of those boxes.
So, and then someone like me shouldn't try and do and approach the work in the way that you do. And there's no right way. You guys listening to me talk about how I approach work doesn't mean that's going to be the way you do it, or vice versa with Owen, right? And the worst thing I can do is listen to how Owen approaches things and be like, oh, that's just the way I should do it, right?
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, we work with technical people for our tech, our creator app that helps creators make better content. And now it helps apps find these creators so they can grow. And working with those technical guys like Rob, they obviously think very different than we do. If we tried to do what Rob did, we would not, it would be very, probably some words that, are against terms of service on Spotify that I probably shouldn't say. We would not be very happy.
I might have already said something.
No. I mean, the cape, I'm not going to say it. Anyways, okay. So it's really important to also know yourself. So if you're someone who's starting out, do you think you think about stuff and you know yourself first? Or do you think it's more of like, let's just go try things and figure it out over time?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Question for me? No, I thought that was like a rhetorical question. Like you're putting out to the audience.
I'm genuinely curious because my belief system is we don't know when we start, Classic example is someone is in high school or college or whatever, and they're like, this is the girl I want to end up with and marry. It's like, really? How do you actually know? Until you've started dating them and it's, you know what I mean? So that's my belief.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So
you have to talk about that. I had no idea how I worked best. Now looking back at it, I can be like, oh, this makes sense. This is the way I worked on things growing up. This is how I always was. But when I started in entrepreneurship, like I would just try to do what everybody else was doing and work the way everybody else was working. One of my roommates in college, very successful entrepreneur, I would see the way he worked. I would try and mimic it and I would burn out in like 3 days. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like this dude doesn't sleep. He's behind a computer all freaking day. He is emotionless. And I was like, I'm going to try and embody that. And it just didn't work for me. It's not the way I feel best. And I don't flow in that state. So for me, it took a lot of trial and error. I've been around a lot of different people who work in different ways. And I'm still working on finding like what's best for me, and the only way I can figure that out is just by showing up every day, just doing my best and taking a few minutes to take a step back and analyze the way I'm doing things and like, how I'm working best and when I feel best, what am I doing? But yeah, it is very easy to like look up to guys and be like, I should just do this because they're doing this.
I think it's the biggest pitfall that all of us face on social media because we're so tapped in and aware of things that are working for people. We see it every day. So we immediately think that is what's working right now instead of thinking that's like their natural thing that they're good at, that happens to be working for them. How do you keep yourself focused on what you should be doing versus looking for external inspiration too much?
Dude, this is a great, like selfishly for me, this is probably like good to talk about because like It's something I'm still trying to navigate. I think I'm trying to be more recently, I'm trying to be extremely careful with like who I'm taking inspiration from and who I'm listening to, because everybody's goals are just so different, right? Like for Owen, someone he might listen to might align way more with what he's trying to achieve versus what I'm trying to achieve. It might be somebody completely different. So one, instead of just seeing what someone's achieved and listening to them because of that, I'm trying to like understand deeper why people are doing what they're doing and then following that opposed to what they're achieving, if that makes sense. So like trying to relate with people more on their morals and what they stand for, and then taking inspiration from those types of people opposed to just anybody and everybody because this person made a lot of money.
How are you making that distinction with people that you listen to or that you follow online? Is it based on what they're saying, or is it based on, what businesses they are running, or things of that nature?
It's like their fruit. I feel like the fruit never lies, You can kind of just tell by the way they present themselves, their family life, the things they talk about, the jokes they make or do not make, the things they say or do not say. So it's just being more intentional with when I'm listening to them. It's something I'm looking for now, and it's something I just wasn't looking for when I first started, if that makes sense.
When you talk about fruit, what is a way for someone to produce better fruit, basically? Like what kind of line of thinking are you using here? Like for me personally, it's just downstream of your inputs and your relationship with God and how much you're reading the Bible. When you're reading the Bible a lot, it's very hard, I feel, to make a lot of those jokes. But if you're not and you drift, obviously you can kind of just, you become more like what you hang around and what your inputs are. I think it's fairly simple. Yeah.
Completely agree. Inputs, what you're consuming, down to the music you listen to. I mean, Owen even made a video about this the other day. He was like, I like the Drake album, but I just like feel like I shouldn't be listening to this. Right. And it's actually really true. I find myself, it's so good, but I find myself thinking about things differently, saying different things. My vocabulary is different depending on what I'm listening to. So yeah, I completely agree.
Dude, it's so weird because growing up, I used to love listening to Drake or Eminem, whatever. But now, me too, bro. I used to love listening to him. But now I spend a lot of time listening to house music, and it's more upbeat. And I feel like I'm in a TikTok edit all the time, and things are good. And I'm like Bradley Cooper and Limitless. You know what I mean? And it's like my brain feels way better, and I'm not thinking about a bunch of different lyrics and inputs. It's really just like I feel better, But it bothers me because I still love Drake. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how do you manage that? Actually,
I wonder if,
how do you manage your time? So, you could tag on to that last one. And then in terms of your phone, I know you have some rules around your phone and how often you're on it. It's very, very hard to be disciplined here. By the way, that's another thing I'd love to talk to you about after is your Ironmans. We didn't even get into that, but yeah, go ahead and get into all that.
Just like screen time, phone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, when you limit screen time, I mean, majority of people watching this are probably like, they probably work online. So obviously we're enabling ourselves to be on our phone. We're on our phone all the time, right? So like not scrolling can be really tough. You go to post a video and then you find yourself like 15, 20 minutes later, and you're like, what am I doing? Scrolling is literally just zapping. You only have a finite amount of energy and focus every day. When you wake up, it restarts. This is the way this is the way I think about it. And everything I do is either adding to my energy or taking away from it. And my energy is the most scarce resource I have. I am just giving away my energy by going on short form, answering texts that I don't need to answer, having conversations I don't need to have. This is the one thing that is going to shape where I'm going to be the next few years. And I'm just like giving it away for free. So, and the thing about short form is, I think everything in your life, you have to think, is this thing getting more out of me than I am getting out of it? Short form is getting everything out of you. You're getting nothing from it. You get nothing in return. It's a zero-sum game. It's like, what's the point? you know? So first thing is just being cognizant of it and realizing it's taking everything away from you. It's not a good way to detach and relax. It's zapping your brain. So the moment I started thinking of it is like, I pick up short form and I just like envision like a zap coming from my brain. And I'm just losing all my energy. I actually just got this app this morning. I haven't set it up yet, but I heard some guy talking about it on a podcast.
Holy
What's it
UGC.
called? Yeah, seriously. It's called One Sec. This is not an ad. I haven't used it yet. So maybe it sucks. But apparently, like every time you pull up social media, it's like, do you really want to do this? I'm like, oh, no, I don't. But yeah, I've been extremely intentional about it. And if I have free time, I've been flying through books recently and really enjoying it.
Any books that you like? Any recs?
I'm almost done with The Art of Spending Money. It's Morgan Housel. His first one was The Psychology of Money, which I'm sure a lot of people have read. But this one is way better. It's so good.
Can we put you on some econ stuff? I've been reading some econ stuff lately.
Yeah, talk to me.
Some Austrian economics. But yeah, I've in terms of spending money, how do you look at it? You know, a lot of creators or a lot of people, I think in general, try not to. They try to save. I'm just curious your predisposition to spending, or how do you look at it?
My perception is always changing. Like the way I think about it is always changing. Like the way I think about it currently is not how I thought about it like a few months ago. So I'm just trying to learn, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Maybe there's seasons. Right now I've been saving a lot. Like when I first started making money, 2024, making like 30, 40, 50K a month. I was just, yeah, Rolex. This is cool though. You know, I like the Rolex. I don't regret this, but like chains, like $2,000, $3,000 chains, like Louis Vuitton shoes. I think it's cool. And I think it's good to experience. I'm glad I experienced it. And I'm glad I felt nothing from it, to realize that there's like really no, this is just like so dumb. So yeah, now, you know, I don't cheap out on like food, dinners. Like my buddy's coming to visit tonight. Like we're all going to go out to in the city tonight and go out to dinner, and I'll pay for the whole thing. I don't care how much it is. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, can you not get this extra appetizer? Like I hope we all have a great time. But maybe it's the older I get or the more things I bought, maybe I become more mature, or maybe it's just from experience, but I just don't value things as much anymore. Physical things, it just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it seems like there's just, you know, my dad, you know, he sent me a text like, "Do you want this shirt?" I'm like, "No."
For what?
I don't know. Like I have shirts. Like I don't. I guess you just get older. Yeah, it's like that's just going to be another thing that I have to like kind of have ownership over. You know.
Well, they the things have ownership over you, I think, is what it starts to become, right?
Correct.
Buy a nice watch, and now I go out to eat, or now I go to a hotel, and I have to think like, okay, if I'm going to leave the watch in here, or like, what am I going to do with it when I travel? They all just become burdens. Like, everything just becomes a burden.
Yeah.
So maybe just things that like improve my life quality. Like this morning, I just bought like $150. Not that that's a lot of money, but like I wouldn't spend $150 on a shirt, but I just bought a $150 walking pad to put in my desk so I can stand and walk. Like that improves my life quality. Like to me, like I'll get a nice walking pad. But
yeah, you know, I spent money when I originally started making money at Lulu. I spent like $4,000 at Lulu. I got all Lulu stuff, and I was so hyped about it because I always wanted like, you know, the Lulu clothing and stuff. But what I ended up doing is getting like different colors and like this whole thing, and now it's just like my brain was like, how do I pick out like the outfit to wear today? Now what I do is it's very simple. I just have like black shirts and I have white shirts. I'll probably even simplify it and just go black in the future. But you know, just plain cotton black shirts, they aren't like good brand. And then, you know, I have this TikTok shop.
That thing's sick.
Paul Walker shirt. Because I was at a car show and it was Smith, and you know, we picked it up. But yeah, I mean, typically everything is like an energy. It's a plus or minus. You know, there's no like, this does not affect you. And I think that's the issue with scrolling when you're buying stuff. And occasionally the dopamine hit can be nice from all these different things. We all buy things. It's not what we're saying.
It can be.
But it's like, you know, how are you managing that? How are you balancing that? I really do think the scrolling thing is zapping our entire generation.
It's the modern day cigarette.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, cigarettes, I think they're not as bad.
I agree. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
worse. It's definitely
Yeah.
worse. People are, yeah. I was going to say something that I didn't know would be on TOS or Shopify, but like it's ruining people's lives. It is ruining people's lives. People are getting nothing done. I mean, think about it. If you think about it from a high level, it makes complete sense. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to work. You don't need to go talk to girls because all the dopamine you're looking for is just right here, and you have to do no work to get it. Nothing. And you get the highest form of dose. Like same thing with like, I don't know if I can say
You're fine.
porn. Like it's the same thing, bro. It's killing. It's the same thing with social media. You don't have to go talk to people, create a relationship because I can just get it right here and I have to do nothing to get it. It's messed up.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah,
I don't.
it makes me sad.
And I think discipline is such a. People used to make fun of. I remember being in college at the girl I was dating at the time. I went to her house and she was asking me about books and I was like, oh, I'm reading like 12 Rules to Life, Jordan Peterson, right?
Great book.
Yeah, I thought so too. And she's like, oh, you read like self-help books and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, like I'm trying to like, at the time I get what she was saying, but I arguably think, having a strong sense of discipline, I don't know if there's anything more important than that, really. Your level of business success or personal outcome is not going to be greater than your level of personal development. You have to absolutely lock in on personal development to have the outcomes that you want. It
feels so good. It feels so good. Like I genuinely think anything is better than scrolling. Like read a book that has nothing to do with business and just read a book at night instead of scrolling. You will feel so much better. Your thoughts will be clear. You'll be happier. You won't stress as much, right? It's actually nuts. Actually nuts. You get addicted to the right types of dopamine. You get dopamine through like fulfilling work and helping people, having like cool conversations like this. Like I look forward to this. This is fun to me to talk about things. Yeah. Maybe something we say on this podcast can help someone. That's exciting.
A couple things. The level of discipline that you have trained over 3 different Ironmans, playing college basketball, posting thousands of TikTok videos every single day. It's a very, very high level of discipline. So for you, discipline is freedom. Like you feel more free because you have been able to put rules on yourself to a degree. Most people never get to that point. Is there anything you can tell someone to get them over the hump to be like, today is actually the day that I'm putting the scrolling away?
Yeah, you just got to do it for like a month or like a couple weeks. You got to feel the feeling of, like, I get goosebumps thinking about it, like setting a massive goal, showing up for it every day, accomplishing it. That dopamine, I promise you, is greater than anything you can feel looking at your phone. Or even just at a smaller scale, setting like 5 goals, writing them down on a piece of paper for the day and sticking to them and getting to the end of the day and putting your head on the pillow and you're just like, oh, that was a lot, but like that feels really good. So I think you just got to experience it. The only reason I'm doing it is because I like it. It's not like I'm like, oh, freaking wake up every day, I got to eat beef and I got to work out and I got to get on my computer. And like, this is it. Yes, there are days that I don't enjoy as much as others. And sometimes it does feel like work, but it is truly fulfilling. And even on those days when I show up anyways, it feels better than not showing up. So 100%. I think you just got to experience it.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is the idea of having a rest day. When we were working out, we would do, I think it was upper, lower rest or something like that. Right now I'm doing lower, and then I'm doing push, pull, rest, and then lower again, push, pull. So it's a little bit different, but that's just based on my goals. It's very hard. Today was my rest day and it still feels wrong. I really do feel better getting up at 4:30 going to the gym, because I know I'm capable of it and it is good for me. I feel much better every morning, which carries out through the entire day. So if I don't do it, I literally don't feel as good because my brain's telling me, you could have gone harder, kind of thing.
Yeah. Me and Kylie talk about that on Sundays. Like Sundays we don't work out or do anything, and I'm like, feel kind of off.
But then Mondays you're attacking. You get the full reset and you're like, I've been waiting to expend my energy.
Yeah, you're like foaming at the mouth.
Rocky when he sees a kid.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What was it? What you were gonna say something though?
Yeah, in terms of draining, like this video that we're doing, basically, this to me, calls are extremely draining. Uh, but at the same time, it's also the act of creation that you're putting something out into the world. So it's not like it's like a real negative, but your positive, like your energy after this, you will have less. You will have depleted your energy. Where do you draw the line in terms of this is a call I should take? It is important to me. I will drain myself of energy here. Like, where are you kind of like what makes something worth doing if it tanks your energy? Is it kind of a feel thing? Like I have a lot of energy today. I can take more calls. You will make $0. You will make less money. Yeah. Yeah. What are we going to talk about? Yeah. Yeah. So so funny. I really, dude, that's so funny because I feel like, we have periods where we talk a ton, and that it's making me realize I probably just drain the hell out of you. I call you a lot. Um, yeah. Yeah. Cause you're like, I got to make sure I'm ready for this call and like all that stuff. What's your daily routine right now in terms of when you do calls, when you make content, that sort of thing? That's my favorite thing to do. because I have a very clear head after I have videos ready. But it's hard, I'm in terms of timing and everything. Um, but lately, because I'm trying to keep a good schedule, I'm getting up at 4:30 without my alarm here and on the West Coast. It's great. It's very rare that I get into a really good routine like this, and there might be extenuating circumstances that have led to this. Where I don't have a lot going on right now. But yeah, it feels it's really not here because the thing is, by the time you get to the gym, usually like 8:39. So I'm getting like 8 hours of sleep. I'll take melatonin, the Noct. That's another UGC ad. Shout out to Lucas Hazan. But the Noct gummy, I'll take one of those usually around like 7:30, somewhere around then. Yeah, because other than Rob is always awake. So just so you guys know, Rob is our CTO, and he works pretty much 16 hours a day plus. Sometimes he'll do 20 hours, and yeah, which is awesome. But we're trying to get him some help. So go get the Artec app. In terms of next, dude, I do want to talk about Artec actually. We started that as the biggest pain point we see is people want to get better at content because downstream from that is money. People want to make money from content, which means their content has to be better. So we built Artec, you and me, to help creators do that by analyzing their videos, giving them feedback from trained on our videos, which we have hundreds of thousands of followers between us and billion views plus. And we've also trained it on people like Breyer that we've worked with, and now it's completely changing. But what was that like? Kind of launching your first app. What did you think about it? Like, how do you feel about it now? You know, you're actually like my only friend that I've worked with that I've enjoyed working with. Usually you work with a friend in like some sort of business venture and you're like, I don't like that guy. I think you're the best. Like I really do. It's been awesome. Um, I think it's just been super fun because we are just different people, but at the same time, we do like a lot of the same things and we've been able to work together in different capacities. Um, you know, one of my first of all, you didn't, I don't think you got that much out of Artec. I think I messed up. Artec should have been a consumer only app. It should have been exactly what it was. And we should have, in my mind, instead of getting sidetracked by the woman in the red dress, which is something that I always wanted to do. I talked about that a little bit more, but Artec should have stayed a consumer app and we should have grown it. Um, that's that was a mistake on my side for pushing it where it is now. It'll be great. It should like they should just be two separate projects. One for the app founders and the marketplace and all of that, and one as the tool itself. So I apologize. I know I've said it before, but that has been cool. That has been cool to see. Yeah. In terms of being on the brand side of things, we both started as creators. It's almost like Moneyball. You're like, all right, well, this is our launch budget. We got like 5 to 10K to pay creators. How do we allocate this to maybe 2 star players, or maybe, let's spread it out amongst 4 or 5 creators so that way we can try to have some redundancy here. It's just like Moneyball. It's really fun. What's crazy is, yeah, it's more like, again, testing things, finding something that works, and just keeping your foot down and not getting distracted. Having courage. Um, yeah, if I mean, in terms of making money, like that is what you do. You test things, you find something that works, you quadruple down all the way. Um, you know, it doesn't exist, and I think that's probably true across like every industry and vertical. Um, There is absolutely no roadmap, but there are some things that hold true. One of those being, you cannot make money if people don't know you have an offer and it exists and you can help them. So the first thing, marketing is essentially communicating your product. And the biggest mistake I see creators do, businesses do, is they're like, well, we're not making enough money. It's like, yeah, you just need to market more. No one knows you exist. And I got that from Hormozy, talking about him earlier in terms of the pros and cons. Everyone has advantages, disadvantages. If you're starting from zero, no one knows you exist, which means you can take the craziest, biggest swings in the world because there's no downside. So there's always some sort of advantage, and it doesn't necessarily feel like an advantage. But if I were to start a brand new account on TikTok, I've done this a few times to test it. No one knows who I am. So when I make a normal piece of content, it actually can perform really well. But if I'm on my main account, a lot of people are there and like don't really care, so it just doesn't hit. But if I made a brand new account, I can pop off and go viral like relatively quickly. I think the lesson is, things, you need to communicate your product effectively, and that's true if you're a creator. If you don't have deals, you need to be in front of more brands that can give you deals. To me, it's a lot simpler than it used to be, when people were like, yeah, you just got to try things. It's like, people have to know you have something. You have to market first, and then, yeah, it's like, yeah. What's next for you now that you've bought a house? Things are good. You know how to make money. Like, you're not going to ever, unless you have amnesia, you're good. You know what I mean? So what do you want your next outcome to be that you're aiming for? I'd love to see that. I think you would have a great societal impact if you did that. I think in terms of pros and cons, Hormozy has been a huge net positive to a lot of people. I think, I have no idea what God's path is for you, obviously, but I think if you did do that, it's like everything else, you'd be successful. And I think a lot of people would benefit. And I talked about Noah Wolfenson about this. He was over here a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me, he has like this. He's overthinking. I think, Noah, we love you. Um, but it seemed like he was overthinking about, what he should do next and this and that. Me personally, I felt like I related to that because I do the same thing. And, it kind of becomes, where you're looking at the outcome too much instead of like just what you should be doing, and like where you're, because if you get too specific, I personally want to have a very large outcome. And I think that's where I can have the effect on the world that I want to have, that I think will be the best good for people. Um, but if you're very specific on an outcome that's not the right one and you're like off target, then you're going to have so much more friction day to day going towards that direction. Like you have to feel something where it doesn't have a ton of friction. Like you have a clear thing that I don't think there's friction for you. It's what you want to do every day, you know? Um, so part of it, that's a very real thing. Fear of success is a real thing because you understand who you are right now and how quickly things can really change. Like right now, you're successful. People know you in the space, like you're the guy in the space. But you could very quickly go to a Hormozy level person if you went full throttle. If you were Ironman training, doing it 12 hours a day, basically, like that same equivalent of content output. Um, and I think, well, I don't even think it's that. I think it's, of course, you can. What happens to my personal life that I enjoy a lot right now? Like, what happens with Kylie? Like, are people gonna more like, we know this from posting on social media. If you get a million views, you're gonna have 10 people that are negative plus, right? So if we do that at a massive scale, then what? Like, think about Layla. She probably gets a ton of flack for nothing. And so your family comes under more scrutiny. This has happened with my family. So it does kind of make you reconsider, like, do I really do this? Because it's going to open up a new set of problems. So I think that could be maybe some of it too. I don't know. Because there's no doubt in my mind, if you wanted to go that direction, you 100% can. You're like 24. You've already beat the game, you know? And the crazy, I'm 27 now. So I've thought about this a lot. When I was 24, all I thought about was making money and stuff. Now I'm starting to look at it a little bit more like I only have a couple more years left in my 20s. Today I'm making sure that I'm going to run by the beach and I'm going in. You know what I mean? Because there's limited times where I can do that forever, and it actually that there's no negative effect there. I'm gonna make the same amount of money from me doing that. So having some of that too, it's pretty interesting. Okay, so we'll give people a little sneak peek here. With our tech, our office is going to be in West Palm. We're going to have the reason for that, obviously, software company should be an SF for consumer, whatever. Um, our thought process is all the creators are in South Florida. A lot of content economy creators, a lot of other creators, and anywhere from Boca down to Miami. And we want them to come in person to our office, make content there, and get that extra, view effect from all these different creators and influencers and UGC creators posting with our resources. If we can get an extra 10 million views a month, whatever the number is, we should 100% do that. So we want to have an extra space for you down there to make sure, content economy, our tech, all of it's working together, to grow the space, help out creators, help out apps and brands. And it's going to be really fun having that environment down there to do more in-person podcasts and stuff like that. Huge difference, especially in terms of the the time it takes from me or you or Colin to talk with Rob, Adam, whoever is on the technical side. In person, it's flat. Like everyone knows what's going on at the same time. So I'm very excited for that. But where can everyone find you? And Spotify and YouTube probably. Yeah, let's run it up. We want a lifestyle vlog YouTube from you as well. We should send Smith to your house. You don't have to. You can just have Smith come visit, and you guys can go do. Wow, that would be awesome. You could definitely pay 5K a month for Clippers, bro, and go nuclear. Uh, exactly. Bro, I don't think it would be boring at all. I think it would be awesome. I would love for you to do that. There's probably some great. I know you. No, no, it gets me excited, bro, because I think I remember you saying you had videographers near you, like two of them or something. Um, yeah, I mean, it solves a lot of the short form stuff. Obviously, you still do your talking head and all of that, but bro, yeah, I would love to see you do that, especially with how we know how we can gamify CPMS and stuff like that. It'd be You're getting an extra 10 million views plus at that budget, maybe more at least. Um, it's insane. It's insane to think about. Yeah. All right. My bad, bro. I just, I got excited about that, bro. I'm excited to see what happens there. I totally agree. By the way, it's a very simple rule. It's the same reason why Hormozy does 10-hour a day live streams when he's selling a product. It's the same thing. All right, sounds great. Great chatting as always. Hope you have an awesome dude. Usually it's about 10 to 15% of people make it an hour. It's pretty high. However, the issue now is we have to get more people going to this. So if you do clipping and then people clip this, then they come to the long form from the short form and we create the funnel. Bang. Giving them the sauce right now. All right. Sounds good, brother. And we'll talk soon.